The marketplace of Nexus Station buzzed with 1,000 different voices, each speaking in tongues that the universal translators struggled to parse. Mira Solon adjusted the strap of her supply bag and navigated through the crowd of beings, some humanoid, others decidedly not. She'd been traveling the outer sectors for 3 standard years now, ever since Earth had finally joined the Galactic Coalition. Most humans stayed close to home, but Mira had always been drawn to the unknown. She'd just purchased 2 loaves of Synthi-grain bread from a Voltan baker when she felt the tug. Quick, desperate fingers snatched 1 loaf from her bag before she could react. "Hey!" Mira spun around, catching sight of a fleeing figure. A Kavari, if she remembered her xenobiology correctly. The creature's gray-blue skin gleamed under the station's artificial lights as she darted between stalls with surprising agility, despite her emaciated frame. Mira's first instinct was to give chase. Food on Nexus Station wasn't cheap, and she was operating on a tight budget. But something made her pause. The way the alien clutched the bread to her chest, the frantic glances backward, the trembling of her 4-fingered hands. This wasn't a seasoned thief. This was someone desperate. Against her better judgment, Mira followed at a distance. The Kavari woman, Mira was certain it was female based on the distinctive crest patterns, led her away from the busy marketplace into the lower levels of the station. The corridors here were dimmer, the air recyclers wheezing with age. This was where the forgotten lived, those who'd fallen through the cracks of the Coalition's supposed prosperity. The alien slipped into a narrow alcove barely visible between 2 sealed cargo bays. Mira hesitated, then stepped closer, keeping to the shadows. What she saw made her chest tighten. The Kavari woman knelt before a small child, no more than 3 or 4 in human years equivalent. The child's skin had a sickly gray pallor and its breathing came in shallow gasps. The woman was breaking the bread into tiny pieces, moistening them with water from a recycled container, desperately trying to get the child to eat. "Please, Karen," the woman whispered in her native tongue, which Mira's translator rendered as a desperate plea. "Just a little. You must eat." The child managed a few bites before turning away, too weak to continue. The woman's shoulders shook with silent sobs as she pulled her child close, rocking back and forth. Mira stepped forward and the woman's head snapped up. Recognition flashed in her violet eyes, recognition and terror. She positioned herself protectively in front of the child, all forearms spread wide despite her obvious weakness. "Please," the woman said in broken Coalition common. "Not report, I beg. I work, I pay back, please." Mira held up her hands in what she hoped was a universal gesture of peace. "I'm not going to report you." The woman, Kathira, her translator identified from the child's earlier utterance, stared at her with disbelief. "You—" "Not angry. I take food. Crime." "You were feeding your child," Mira said simply. She reached into her bag and pulled out the remaining loaf of bread, along with a protein pack she'd been saving for dinner. "Here." Kathira's eyes widened, darting between Mira's face and the offered food as if expecting a trap. I not understand. Why you help? We are nothing. Kavari are, how you say, low status. Nobody care." Mira knelt down, setting the food between them. "Where I come from, we have a saying, there but for fortune go I. It means we're all just one bad day away from being where you are now. What happened to you?" Slowly, haltingly, Kathira told her story. She'd been a botanical engineer on a Kavari colony ship. When the ship's drive core failed near Nexus Station, they'd been stranded. The Coalition had offered minimal aid, enough to keep them alive barely, but not enough to repair the ship or book passage home. One by one, the other Kavari had found work or benefactors. But Kathira had been pregnant when they arrived, and no one wanted to hire someone about to take maternity leave. By the time Karin was born, she was already behind, already forgotten. "I try everything," Kathira said, her voice cracking. "Work any job. But with Karen sick, I cannot leave long. Medicine too expensive. I save for 2 months, get treatment. He better for a while, but now..." She looked at her child, and Mira saw the resignation in her eyes. "I think maybe I lose him soon." "No," Mira said firmly. "You're not going to lose him." "What does he need?" "Immunoboosters. Kavari specific. Cost 500 credits. Kathira laughed bitterly. "I have 47, Mira did quick mental math. She had about 800 credits to her name. Enough to book passage to her next destination with some left over for supplies. If she gave Kathira what she needed, she'd be stuck on Nexus Station for at least another month, maybe 2. picking up odd jobs to rebuild her funds. She pulled out her credit chip. "What you do?" Kathira asked, alarm in her voice. "Getting your son his medicine," Mira replied, already pulling up the station's medical directory on her portable terminal. "There's a clinic on level 12, we're going there now. But you not know us. Why you sacrifice for us?" Mira looked at the small child, then at his mother's disbelieving face. How could she explain that humanity had spent centuries learning, often the hard way, that compassion wasn't weakness, that mercy wasn't naive, that the measure of a civilization wasn't in its strongest members but in how it treated its most vulnerable? "Because someone once showed mercy to me when I needed it," Mira said finally. "And because tomorrow I might be the one who needs help. We're all just trying to survive out here. Might as well do it together." 2 hours later, little Karen had received his treatment. The clinic doctor, a gruff Voltan with surprisingly gentle hands, had even waived half the fee when Mira explained the situation. "Humans," he'd grumbled. "Always trying to save everyone. It's contagious." As they left the clinic, Kareen already looking brighter in his mother's arms, Kathira stopped Mira in the corridor. Tears streamed down her face as she performed what Mira recognized as a Kavari gesture of profound gratitude, touching all 4 hands to her heart, then extending them toward Mira. "You saved my child," Kathira said. "In Kavari culture, this create life bond. I am yours always. If you need anything, anywhere, anytime, you call me. You understand? I repay this. On my honor and my child's life," Mira smiled. "Just pay it forward. When you're back on your feet, help someone else who needs it." "I will," Kathira promised. "But first I help you. I hear you stuck here now, yes? Need work? I may be desperate, but I still have contacts. I get you best botanical engineering work on station. You know plants?" "A little," Mira admitted. "Good, you learn more. I teach you. Partners, yes?" Mira looked at this alien mother standing straighter now, hope rekindled in her eyes, her child breathing easier in her arms. She thought about all the reasons this was impractical, all the ways this complicated her plans. Then she thought about how empty those plans would feel if she'd walked away. "Partners," Mira agreed. As they walked back toward the inhabited levels of the station, Kareen reached out with a tiny hand and grasped Mira's finger. The child's grip was weak but steady, a promise of strength to come. Behind them, the marketplace continued its chaotic symphony. But for Mirasolan and Kathira, the universe had just become a little bit smaller, a little bit kinder, and a little bit more like home. In the end, that's what humanity had always done best. Not conquering the stars, but bridging the distances between hearts.